Good morning, guys. What's going on? Happy Thursday. How did everyone survive FOMC yesterday? Did you guys trade it? Did you take the day off? I know in our Discord we were talking about how there was the issue with Trade of 8 that morning, plus FOMC, plus all the earnings. It was just going to be a crazy day. And the Trade of 8 thing was assigned to not trade. All right, let's take a look here. Yeah, you guys smash that like button, but don't break your computer. Do I listen to any stock trading related podcasts? No, I don't. I haven't really got into stock trading. It's something that I'm definitely interested in adding more as like a swing trading type of thing where I'm holding positions for a couple weeks or months. And I know options is a way to do that, but kind of with leverage and with all the time expirations and stuff on it. So options scares me a little bit. I might just do regular old stock swing trading. But I think I want to focus on futures and make sure I'm consistent with that first. So my thought, you guys, I'm actually in a tiny position right now. Pre-market positions make me a little bit nervous. I'll add to it depending on how the market opens. But I'm in a short, just 2 contracts. My reasoning was it was looking pretty droopy. It came back up and retested VWAP and this high of day anchored VWAP. So just took a small position, just a 16-point stop, which I'm actually at break even at this point. And really my ultimate target, if today is super saggy, is down here in this big support zone that I have. I'll show you why I have that as like a bigger highlighted area. I use visible range volume profile. If you zoom way out and get all of this price action in here, look at that high volume node right there. So if we are going to have a down day, that would be my ultimate target. But my thought is if we stay below, let me turn this back off, value area high, and then also these pre-market levels, as long as we stay below those, I would be looking for a return down to at least previous day low. Couple reasons for that. We had that big wick down and then a buy up just based off of the earnings news. So it seems like there could be some more orders down there. That's just my plan for today, is looking for shorts as long as we stay below some of these levels. But we'll see how the market opens. Uh-oh. We have someone in the chat who's long on ES. Let me look at ES. How is ES looking? Yeah, I could kind of see that. ES is actually right at VWAP and holding So if ES is going to bounce, it's going to be right here, right? I'm good with it either way. My stop loss is actually pretty tight just because it could go either way at the market open, but I have it set at like 174 is where my stop loss is. We could get a little move up at the open, but kind of looking for some selling pressure to possibly take shorts. But as always, staying flexible depending on what we get. And news, I'm pretty sure we have something. Yeah, we have factory orders at 10 o'clock, so 30 minutes after the open. And we already had trade balance and initial jobless claims an hour ago. We do have some earnings today, quite a few that won't make a big difference. And then we have Apple tonight and Visa tonight. So this is a big earnings week. Lots of stuff going on. You almost got long, but then you heard me say I'm short. I don't know. Do what your system tells you to do. I definitely could be wrong. And obviously, I don't have an immense amount of confidence in the trade because my stop loss is already trailed at 174. But that's mostly just because the market's about to open and, you know, the algos could be crazy. You never know what you're going to get. As always, gold is pumping. Gold was actually pretty choppy last night. I had a big move up at the market open and then kind of just chopped overnight. Yeah, G-Man, it looks like it's about to match all-time highs again on gold. I've honestly been struggling with gold. I feel like the way to trade gold right now is just to catch the momentum. Like, wait for it to retrace a little bit and chop back down. And then once you see buyers decide to eat it back up, just get in long. Which I know is a terrible strategy to just like watch volume candles and ride the momentum. But I feel like that's been the way to trade gold lately. And you have to size way down on gold. Like I'm used to, like I've said before, my risk is like $200 per trade. When it's moving 100 points in a couple candles, even one contract, like one micro, is still a lot of risk. Close your eyes and go long. Yeah, if you can have a giant stop loss. All right, market is open. I'm going to trail this down a little bit more. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. there's that pre-market craziness, or the open craziness. All right, still holding below point of control. Had a little move up, now it's coming back down. Let's start marking off some of these opening lines. Here's our anchored VWAP. So that was my stop loss. I'm good with it. Like I said, it could come up a little bit higher to value area high. Some of these overnight highs. Just kind of looking for maybe a little retrace up. And then that move down. I'm going to try a short again. 127 is where I entered. Kind of just riding the momentum, thinking that it'll go down. There is the London low right there. It dropped below that. Let's see if it holds below. See if we get that continuation. $127.75 was where I entered. If we get a little bit of a further move down, I'll move to break even, because we do have this low, overnight low, where it could bounce. ES finally broke below VWAP. All right, I moved to at least break even. 26K, or like right here, that is previous day low. That's pretty much when I think it was earnings was released. So that would be retracing the Netflix pump. So let's see what happens if we get there. It's hitting our overnight low right now. If it doesn't bounce here, I think it will at least go to previous day low. And then my like home run target would be that orange level down here, like 860s. home run target down there. I only put on 2 contracts on this because I always get nervous with initial trades off the open like that. I know this is kind of a faint line. I don't even know if you guys can see it. Let me make it better. There we go. Now you can see it. So that's previous day low. And then this would be my home run target. Not my style this early. I know. That's why I only took 2 contracts. I was a baby. I wimped out. I could be a millionaire right now if I went all in. Why didn't you guys tell me? Just full tilt. Throw on 2 minis. No way. I would have been sweating like crazy if I had a super big position. I probably would have mismanaged it big time. Sizing down is the way to go. But yeah, you're right. I don't usually take positions this early in the open. I think I just had a pretty strong bias of what we were going to do. I'm watching previous day low to see what kind of bounce we get here. It's looking pretty heavy though, so if we don't get a bounce, I'm going to hold it. Also watching ES, it is pretty far away from its previous day low. So I think we do still have room to go. Yeah, NQ is almost at its previous day low. ES still has quite a ways to go. So I'm thinking that NQ could still go lower. Come on, don't bounce here. It didn't quite hit its previous day low. And usually when there's a liquidity grab, it'll touch it and bounce. So I don't think that's what's happening. Good morning, Versat. I like, Stockfather, I like your affirmation. It almost sounded like you were reminding yourself of your rules out loud. I do that all the time. I would say 80% of the time when I'm telling you guys something or like recommending something, it's because I'm preaching to myself. And just reminding myself out loud, like size down, be patient. Don't chase, don't FOMO. There's always another opportunity. I'm talking to myself and I just let you guys listen. Shorted silver for a little over $800. There you go. And $800 on silver is quick. You probably could have done that with 1 or 2 micros. All right, trailing my stop a little bit lower. We are hitting previous day low right now. So like I said, I'm going to watch this reaction. But ES still has quite a ways to go until it's low. So we could keep dumping. Oh, Verify, you're venturing out to other stuff. I've heard that oil is a good thing to trade right now. Oil and silver are like the hot ticket items. So we obviously have this wick to the left. We also have a little bit of that accumulation right there. I'm still watching ES. I think that's going to help me figure out where I want to take my profits, is if ES hits its overnight lows and both NQ and ES start bouncing, I'll take it off. We also have this wick over here to the left, so we can watch for a reaction here. But 860-ish would be my plan. It's definitely not looking like a liquidity grab here at previous day low. That's not the vibe I'm getting. Holy cow. Oh my gosh. Imagine all those people that tried to long at previous day low. Yikes. The market just got them. I hope it was none of you. Hopefully no one in the chat was trying to long right there. Nope. Verify said nope. This is why you wait for confirmation. Amen. Hey, if you guys haven't watched my most recent video, do so. Because if you had waited for the volume to show up, buyers to show up, some sort of engulfing candle, some sort of wick, none of that happened. Even if I look at the 1 minute chart, this yellow line right here is previous day low. Absolutely nothing. 1 minute chart, there's not a single green candle, nothing engulfing. There was no reason to take a long right there. And that's why I don't place limit orders. I mean, unless you like pre-add your brackets and you know your risk and all that, but I personally don't like limit orders for that reason right there. I know there's a lot of people who have success with it, so I'm not saying it's wrong, but me personally, I don't use them because of that. If ES breaks 69.75, yeah, that's yesterday's low. That's kind of where I'm watching for a reaction. That's why I'm still holding NQ, because ES had a ways to go before it hit previous day low. It's approaching it right now though. So might have some sort of bounce here soon. So this line right here is that wick to the left. So I was kind of watching that, but like I said, 860s is the higher time frame support. All right, there's that wick to the left. Are we going to bounce there? Or is this thing going to keep dumping? ES is at previous day low right now. What's it going to be, NQ? What are we doing? Where are we headed? Any updates on gold? I have gold on a different chart, and I'm not seeing a whole lot right now. From what I see, it's kind of just chopping around VWAP. It is retracing to pre-market low. So if it gets down to there, we could take a long. If I see anything, I'll let you guys know. All right, I'm taking one off. I only have 2 contracts on this position. I'm taking one off because it did grab that liquidity to the left, and ES is bouncing at previous day low. And then I'm going to go ahead and place my stop loss there because it looks like it might be bouncing back up. Alrighty, I'm out. Cool. Let's look for another position. See what we get next. So opening range low is right here. It's reclaiming that. One trade I do like is if it breaks out of the opening range low or high, if it breaks out of the opening range, retest the New York anchored VWAP and rejects, this could be a short idea. And then targeting that 860 level that I was looking at before. Stop loss somewhere above these wicks here. So let's see if it gets back up to like 26, 25-ish. Let's see what happens there. But again, I'll wait for confirmation, because if this is bouncing off of a support and reclaiming some of these levels, it could go higher. So or it could just dump from here, and that would suck. Where is the 50% from our total range so far? Right around 2640-ish. Yeah, I know someone was asking in the chat earlier about gold. I don't see anything right now. It started to look like it was pumping up to all-time high, but then it slowed down and started chopping around VWAP a little bit. Well, is NQ gonna move up a little bit higher? Or is it just gonna keep dumping? That wasn't a very big retrace if that's all it's gonna give us. It's breaking back below opening range low. So to kind of let you guys know, like it could just dump without us, without me. I shouldn't say us. One of you could have taken this. The reason I did not chase a short from here and I was waiting for the retracement is just looking at volume. That bounce had quite a bit of volume, so I was thinking it could go up a little bit higher. But no, it's going down. We still have a minute and a half left on this 5-minute candle. So far, it looks like it's going to close below this opening range. All right, chat. What do you guys have going on? What are you watching? Another reason I don't necessarily love the idea of chasing this short is I'm watching ES. And ES is hovering at its previous day low right now and kind of trying to hold it. So I feel like we would be shorting into a support area. Yeah, Coach Set, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Possible long. It's hovering at this big support zone that I have. I showed you guys earlier with the visible range volume profile. Like there's tons of trading here. This is a big shelf. ES is bouncing off previous day low. It could reclaim here and go higher. Volume is kind of supporting it so far. Nothing so far. It still could, like, it could just be chopping around right here, trapping longs and shorts, because there's people who want to get in short. There's people who think that it's already dumped enough for the day and it's going to go up. So it could just wipe out all positions right now. I don't want to short here because I feel like it could retrace up to this New York anchored VWAP before going down, if it's going down. And then longs, it could still retrace into this zone before bouncing. So I don't love anything right now. Donna, hello, good morning. Well, it retested that opening range low and now it's rejecting. If it comes down to the bottom of this zone at like 860s, I'll be watching for a reaction. See if buyers show up with some force. I trailed my stop loss too tight on that one. I should have just held it, huh? Shoulda, woulda, coulda. That's always the answer. Just kidding. All right. Let's see what happens. See if this thing keeps dumping or if we're going to get a little bounce in this area. ES is just flushing. Jeez. And gold is still like chopping around. Gold's late to the party. Gold is coming down to its pre-market low. 55.01. Watching to see if we get a bounce there. Gosh, dang it. Too bad I didn't hold my short. Jeez. This is wild. All right, let's zoom out and see what we have looking left. Next support area, 25,700. Yeah, we're all thinking we should have held those shorts. I know. Dang. I fully expected it to retrace the earnings candle. It didn't even think about bouncing at 26K. And then I was like, all right, there's tons of support here at the 860s. Nope. It hovered there for like 2 seconds and then just dumped. All right, gold broke below its pre-market low and is not bouncing. So gold is on the dump train too. I do have an alert set on gold at the overnight low where we opened at 54.47. We can see if we get a reaction there. But for now, shorts are the play. All right, chat, who's still holding their shorts? I know someone is. No signs of a pullback yet. So at this point, just got to stay patient and see if any of these supports down here hold. And then with confirmation, obviously, consider a long. But I'm not going to try to catch a falling knife and like long the first 1 minute green candle. Or if we're kind of in no man's land and we come back up and retest, we can look for a short entry. But remember, this zone right here is what I was talking about. Could be support. Obviously, it dropped right through it. So that could turn into resistance. And we can look for something to come up here and catch a short, possibly. For now, just watch the fun train. Don't try to step in front of it. All right, zooming in a little bit. See what happens in this 860s to 900 level. If we come back up here and reject that could be a good short entry. Well, even though my position at the open was super small, I'm glad I took it because honestly, since then, there haven't really been any great opportunities. I mean, this bounced and kind of almost retested that New York anchored VWAP, but never really came that far up before rejecting again. So I haven't been any like great retracements to enter a short. Gold is dumping. My goodness. It's almost to that overnight low. 54.47. Watching to see what happens down there. Well, we had that big move at the open. Now it's kind of slowing down a little bit. Gearing up for something. Still dropping. You guys, I'm going to try a long on gold. 35.8 is where I entered. I'm going to show you what I'm watching over here. NQ is getting a little bounce. Adding the 9 and the 21 EMA on my chart is highly recommended. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff you can add. Trying to keep it as simple as possible. I know there's lots of things out there that work. I'm not saying they don't. What is NQ gonna do? All right, let me show you guys my thoughts on gold. And why I took a long. So if you look to the left, let me zoom in so you can see it better. This big move up right here, there was lots of chop right here before the big move up. And that's kind of where we're at right now. Was just going to see if we get a retracement back up to some of these levels. So that's what I'm watching for on gold. What are we doing on NQ? Could be coming all the way down to that 600 level that has been support for a while. Down here on the hourly, you can see it at like 580s. All right, stopped out of gold. It did not hold that level. Jeez, gold is dumping too. What is going on? You're getting an error at checkout. Have they posted anything in their Discord? Let me see. I don't see anything. Yeah, Jeff, I agree. It's weird that NQ and gold, like everything is dumping. I know a lot of times they are inversely correlated, but they haven't really been lately. Like they've both been pumping, or right now they're both dumping. Wild. Gold would have been a really nice short. It's dumping hard. Stockfather, you're having an issue with your trade and Tradeovate? Is it down again? Aw, come on, really? Or is it just the website, the Lucid website that's down? You think the top is in on gold? I highly doubt that. Highly doubt it. Maybe it's in for a couple days, but I don't think like this is the top for even the short term. Oh, it's in because you wanted to buy? Yeah. Well, I wouldn't recommend buying right now unless you're planning on holding for multiple years. All right, we're starting to get a little bit of a bounce. We do have 12 minutes until our initial balance is set. So that's a possible spot where we can look for more trade opportunities. Stockfather, did you get your trades fixed? Were you able to close it out? Yeah, I'm pulling up financial juice. I mean, we had the factory orders. That's not something that usually makes it dump like this. I mean, they're talking about like territorial issues with Russia and Iran and all that, but I don't see any big news releases about like war or airstrikes or anything like that. Sarah, no, that's a good question. I actually I used to have a TradingView subscription. I don't anymore. I actually let it expire because I just link my prop firm account to it. That way I don't have to pay for it. No, that's a good question. All right. 8 more minutes until the initial balance is set. So far, this is our low for this session. Getting a pretty good bounce here. So if this is the bottom for the day, I'm not saying that it is because obviously that was a big drop. I'm not trying to call the bottom. But if I'm looking for longs, a couple of scenarios, if we come back down here, if we come back down here and we bounce with volume, like with confirmation, that could be a possible long opportunity, or it could just dump from there and we could be looking for more downside. Or if it bounces from like where we're at and it does not continue lower, I would look for it to reclaim the New York anchored VWAP and this support level at like 890 to 860s and then take a long from there. So if we have some confirmation that that was the bottom, those would be the long scenarios. Or if we get up here to the top of this 890, 900 level and we reject this New York anchored VWAP, that would be where I would look for shorts. So I know that's a lot of crazy lines. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys, but that's kind of what I'm watching for at this point. If we retrace down to the initial balance low, look for a reaction, possible long. Or if we come back up to this New York anchored VWAP, we can see what happens there at 25,900-ish. That's what I'm waiting for. In my opinion, what makes Tradeovate a better place to place trades than using TradingView? I don't think it's a better place necessarily. I think for me, to be totally honest with you, it's probably just a control thing. Like, I've heard horror stories of things not linking correctly, and not necessarily with TradingView. I have not heard bad stories with TradingView linking, but like if you have a third-party trade copier or whatever. So I want to be in the prop firm account to be able to like hit the exit and cancel all button and make sure that I don't have some limit order there that I don't know about, or like a position open that I don't know about. I've definitely blown a couple of accounts because I didn't realize I had an order open. So maybe I have a little bit of PTSD. And it's not because I was trading in TradingView, but I think it's just having made those mistakes. I want to be in Tradeovate so I can see for myself that all orders are canceled. So that's, to be honest, that's probably why. But no, I think trading in TradingView is a great option. I think the bracket orders, if you want to have the OCO orders, they're easier in TradingView. And then if you do want to copy trade, that's the only thing. You can't copy trade in TradingView unless you have a third-party copier, like TradeSyncer. That's the one that I recommend. If you don't have TradeSyncer, then you have to copy trade inside of Trade-O-Vate. Gold is still dumping. It's down at yesterday's low of 52.64 and not showing any signs of coming back up. Just wow. This is crazy. If you guys are trading gold, be careful. This is huge. Like even 1 micro is a lot of risk. Crazy. Our initial balance is set at this point. Well, 30 seconds from now. Yeah, Chichamis, did I leave my faucet trickling during the cold weather there? Yeah, I did. So we don't really have any pipes outside that we needed to wrap, other than our pool. So what we did is turned off the breaker on our pool so the pump would not run. And then inside the house, we dripped all the faucets and opened up the cabinets. That way the heater would like make sure the pipes were warm, because if your heater is on, that'll be fine. The biggest thing is how many hours is it going to be freezing? Like if it's just getting, into the 20s overnight for 8 hours or 12 hours or whatever, and it's not very long, then you should be fine. If it never gets above freezing for the whole day, that's when you need to be worried. But from what I've seen for the weather, it's just going to be below freezing for a couple hours. Have I noticed that the Lucid website is down? I have not tried to use the Lucid website right now, but I heard G-Man was trying to buy some accounts and it wasn't working for him. I did look at their Discord and I didn't see any announcements about it, so I'm not sure. Anything but ES is gambling. Maybe for you. I totally get it. If you've learned one chart and one instrument, then stick with what you know and what you're doing well with. But it doesn't mean that it's gambling. You can still have a really good system on a different instrument. I mean, gold, I have a good system for gold and I do well with gold. I have a good system with NQ. I do well with NQ. It's not gambling. You just have to manage your risk. What platform do I use? I have accounts with Tradeify, Trade-Day, and Lucid currently. I'm looking to reinvest my next payouts into getting a few more. Well, initial balance low. There's no signs of bouncing, you guys. Like I said, I don't want to take a long unless we get confirmation. Like I wanted it to get back above some of these VWAPs and this support resistance area. That's not happening. It's not holding initial balance low. We could just keep dropping. And it's not retracing enough to where I want to take a short. So I'm not seeing any trades that I like, you guys. Still just dumping. All right, guys. I don't want to chase the short, and who knows how low this thing can go. So I think I'm going to call it. I don't love any trades. And I need, honestly, to be transparent with you guys, I need to get better at walking away. Because if I sit here, then I know I'm just going to like try to find a trade. All right. Well, I will be back tomorrow trading with you guys live. So come join me. I would love it. And then join our Discord. And then, of course, if you guys are buying any platform accounts, use code Krista. I would appreciate it. Love the support. All right, team. Trade safe if you're going to keep trading. Have a good day. Take care.